Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact-dependent. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lawyers, Mediators International Show and Podcast, where we talk about law and conflict resolution topics to educate professionals and everyday people. Today, we are going to stick to the international part of the show by speaking with Chijioke Ibeku, who is based in Abuja, Nigeria. And I'm here in Houston, and so it's 1:50 in the afternoon here. And Chijioke, you're out in Abuja, where it's, I think, 8:50 in the evening. Is that correct, or is it 7:50?
Slightly 8:53. For me, it's 7:53, right? 7:53 now in Nigeria.
Yes, well, I appreciate that you're, taking this time out of your day to get with me. So we're pretty far apart, but we're close on one thing, and that is the topic of mediation that we both love so much. And so you've been on the show multiple times before where you've talked about what you do. You're an author, you are a trainer, you work with children in peer mediation. And so before we get too far into some of the topics we're going to discuss today, specifically peer mediation, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what's also changed since, I guess, the last number of months since we both connected?
Wow, you've already done. Thank you so much, Mark, for having me. Like I got across, I say it's a privilege. With everything happening now, the world is a small place. But for you to have a voice, you need to have a platform. And I thank you for giving your platform to me to reach out to a lot of people beyond my brothers. Thank you so much, Mark. Well, I still remain the same Chijioke that has been on your podcast for a number of times. A lawyer, a mediator, an author, a trainer, like you said. We've just been trying within our possible best to promote mediation, continually promote mediation within and beyond our borders. And that's what we've been doing, trying to make people realize that there are better ways to do things. And for us, we believe very strongly, very strongly that sooner than later, mediation will no longer be an alternative, but the main thrust of conflict resolution. So the earlier people begin to buy into it, the earlier people begin to imbibe it as a practice, the better. And we want to be counted on the side of those that rose very early to realize that mediation is indeed, or shall indeed, be the main thrust of conflict resolution very soon. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was just screen sharing your LinkedIn, which is one of the best places people can get in touch with you. I'll put your LinkedIn in the blog post, of course. And of course, your Facebook, which is called the Mediator in Action. And so folks can follow you on social media. You're pretty fluent on social media, always publishing and posting. So I'll definitely send those out as well. But let's talk about peer mediation because on my screen, I have this certificate. It says first place, Center for Peer Mediation and Peace Building, 2025 high school winner. And this was given out by JAMS, the NAPPP, and OPMP at the second annual online peer mediation tournament. So for people who don't know, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about this tournament, this is where students, kids all the way to high school get an opportunity to get together and compete to see how they can use their mediation skills to help resolve conflicts. And so this is something that happens worldwide. When I was in Paris, this is in March, I interviewed a judge out in Warsaw. Well, she's in South Poland, but she does peer mediation. And I was kind of curious if her school was participating in this as well. But this is in Europe, this is in the USA, this is all over the world. So peer mediation is the next level of how we can help instill, the word you use is imbibe, how we can help imbibe the love and passion for conflict resolution in the younger generation so that when they grow up, they're going to have the skill set necessary to be able to, resolve disputes in their everyday lives and in society at large. And this is not something you saw, previously. I think in the past, there was an expectation that maybe, religion or other, parts of society might handle that kind of dynamic. But now, especially when there's so much chaos in the world and people, going their own ways and doing their own thing and this creating conflict, now we have this movement where people all over the world are putting their heads together on how they can help kids, children, students know, have a passion for resolving conflicts. So anyway, tell us from your perspective, what this is, the tournament, how it was set up, who was invited, who participated, and how did you guys make it all the way to the first place? Go ahead.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mark. For me, I like to start from the very end and come back to the beginning. This competition actually made me know that indeed I had not wasted all my time for the past how many years I've been on this path as pioneer in this wonderful, unique practice of mediation in Africa. We are the pioneers. We started this program in Africa in 2021. Regardless of we kept pushing. We kept pushing. And, at the time, we feel like we've lost hope because we needed funds to keep promoting. We needed funds because you can't talk to children who are on empty tummy. You need to feed them. You need to give them some level of refreshment before you begin to teach them. At times, we take them for 1 hour, 2 hours a day. In a week, we do almost three. In a week, we almost make like 3 sessions. We'll do from January to March. Every quarter, we're on the road trying to, get these children to appreciate this unique practice. And, so if you just come and just keep talking and talking, and you're not giving them something to eat, something to, snack on, you will more like you're talking to an empty space. So you will need funds to also even have the teachers, the coordinators who will train, more like trainers, who will train to say, okay, if I'm not going to be here, I'm here on Monday, I might not be here the next week, Monday, cover up, follow up on what I've already set down for you. You need to also have them, in tune with what you're doing. You need to encourage them. So it's been challenging for 4 years plus, no funds, yet we are still running. So it was like winning this competition was the icing on the cake. It was just that icing on the cake I needed. That just made me know, Chijioke, all your efforts, like the Bible will say, was not in vain. And I was very fulfilled. The night I got the announcement that I had won this competition, I almost hit my head on my roof. I was so excited. I was very happy. Yes, because I knew that I actually had, my effort had been rewarded. My effort had been rewarded because I had not gotten all the funds I needed to push this program. The thing that blew my mind and made me so extremely very happy was when I got the announcement that, Chijioke, your team came first. And, it wasn't first within Nigeria. It was first with an organization as Jams of, organized an organization, and we came first in an international organization. So it wasn't, you are not looking at something within. You are not looking at an African competition. You're looking at children who were even beyond what we had to present, children who were exposed. In America, for instance, you can't compare what we're doing with what you're doing there. Yes, the children from here went there and put up a very good presentation and came first. And like I said earlier to you, before we even came on air, I was telling you that these children are not from the elite schools in Nigeria. They are from government schools, public schools. And you can imagine, I don't know how the public schools in America run, but here, yes, they run it, but they're not as equipped as the private schools. Yeah, these children could go there with confidence, with so much steez and swag, and actually come top amongst other children. And we have 15, like I said, 15 teams across the continent, across the world. 15 teams participated. And these children came first in the competition. Mark, my joy knew no bounds. I can't, even to today, when I relish those moments, in my lonely moments, I say, this is one of my legacies. This is one of the things I've achieved. When everything seems to be dull, you can have that kind of dull moment around you, and you kind of try to tick, mark some goods around your life. This is one of the good I mark around my life, that yes, I've indeed achieved something with respect to this world unique practice that is in the future of the conflict resolution sector we're all presently trying to promote now.
Yes. Well, to help us understand the steps that led you to get to this first place, because I understand that the competition was from February to May.
Yeah.
And so multiple months, and kind of like the, Sweet 16 in the US for basketball, have these brackets, right? Where you eventually start narrowing down to smaller and smaller number of teams who stick around after they patch each step. And so, can you give us a little bit of the behind the scenes?
All right.
How did that
There were
process happen?
all right. We had 4 stages and they had the problem questions, 4 stages of the competition, problem questions. So they'll give you for the first stage, you have your problem questions. If you do well and impress the judges, you move to the next round. Then if you do well again and you impress it, because every round had its own problem questions. They wanted to see how the children could actually carry themselves with respect to handling that program. So we are asked to video the session, and of course to make sure that you did not help them. You are not allowed to contribute after practicing. You send the video. No, you're not meant to. For me as a coordinator, I wasn't meant to chip in anything again. I had to allow them do whatever they wanted to do. Once you're sure of your video, you send across. So there was no means of you didn't do it well, you did it rightly. No interference from anybody, just them. So they just address the questions that were sent to them. Once they meet the criteria set out by the judges, they move to the next round. And that's how we kept moving. We were 15 teams, and I think they said there were 4 teams in the final. 4 teams in the final, and we're amongst the 4 teams. And of course, like we say in law, the fact speaks for itself. We came first.
Good. So this happens every year. Last year, you guys participated last year in the previous one?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. This is our very first time.
It's the first
This is
time.
our very first time of participating.
Oh, okay, wow. So the first time you got in, you had
Yeah,
no
the
prior
first time,
practice. Yeah, and this is, pretty reputable, right? Because it's being put on by jams.
Yeah, very reputable. Of course, an organization like Jams can't. That's what even made my excitement go beyond the roof. That an organization such as Jams could recognize my efforts. That's why I was even more excited.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that I guess you felt this validated all of the efforts that you had put into this kind of work of all these years.
Sure, Mark, I did.
Yeah, well, sometimes people in this business, they might feel validation because, they might make a lot of money from it or because they're selling a lot of books from it. And you're all over the place. You're doing a lot of different things. But why is this the most important part for you that gives you the feel good feelings about mediation and the work you do, that the fact that you help these children?
Yeah, you asked why is it very important. You asked why is it very important.
Yeah.
The situation we're all facing today in our world, across the globe, everywhere. But I want to be very emphatic with Africa. The 20 issues: religion, culture, tribe. So you need to have these children begin to imbibe this wonderful, unique facet of mediation, peer mediation, the traits. You need to let them know that they can actually resolve conflicts without blowing it to the top. You need to equip them with the skills to relate across the borders of religion, tribe, and culture. For instance, in Nigeria, you have like I'm Igbo by tribe. For Igbo people, you can't see an Igbo man prostrate even for an elderly person. I can't prostrate for an elderly person. It's more like an abomination. But you will see the other tribes, the Yorubas, they will prostrate. So you need to make the man from my place to know that person prostrating is not less of a human being. It's just his culture.
Correct.
And for me, that I'm not prostrating, for the other person to also appreciate that it's not my culture to do that. I can shake you with my 2 hands if you're elderly and bow down my head to show a sign of respect. So you need to make people to begin to appreciate different cultures. And as well as as a mediator, culture plays a very, very vital role in mediation because that is what stems most of the conflict, the way of people, the way of life. So we want these children to begin to appreciate at this very formative age that you can go beyond that level. You have to cut each person that room, give room for differences, try and understand where the other person is coming from and try and live as much as you can at peace with the person. You're never going to have complete peace, but you're going to try as much as you can to make sure that conflict is reduced to the barest minimum. So we want these children to begin to learn that. And again, for us as their children, and we're looking forward to the future, we have to have a generation of practitioners who will take over when we are all long gone. So by virtue of what we are doing, we have 7 to 17 years. By the time to get to our ages, you're very sure that the conflict resolution sector will not have a dearth of practitioners in the sector.
Gotcha. Well, I like what you said about cultural appreciation, because a lot of times that's the root of conflict. And as mediators, we spend a lot of time getting trained in different nuances of how people do things differently. Sometimes it's not good or bad, it's different. And that goes a long way towards reducing conflict. So getting that instilled in children from a young age is very helpful. So out of the 15 teams, you guys got number one. And I understand next year you'll be doing the same thing again.
God willing, by the grace of God, we'll be there. It will be there as speed as the light, with the speed of a lightning. We'll be there, yes, by God's grace. We want to participate again with other sets of children, because we have other children. We have different children across, not only in Nigeria. We can even come with the children from Uganda. We just want these children to have a feel of that international exposure.
Yeah. So on my screen, I have the QR code that's on the Peer Mediation Online website where you can apply for the 2026 one that's going to be taking place from February 1st to May 31st, 2026. And again, that'll be sponsored by Jan's Foundation and others. It's a global event, and it brings student mediators from elementary, middle, and high school to showcase their conflict resolution skills in a supportive and collaborative online environment. So it's very affordable for people who might be interested in joining you next year. It's only $40 per team, and scholarships are even available. So if people want to participate in this next year, what are some, I guess, tips you might provide them to help them get ready?
I think what they look out for is that confidence. They want to see that child that exhibits that confidence. So people that will be applying, they need to show confidence. I don't think they're really interested in you being like every other, being perfect 100%, but they just want to see you take control. See that adults in that child. Have confidence that sooner than later we'll have people who will be well equipped to take over that space. So once you can exude that confidence and show that level of expertise, I'm sure you'll go far with them.
Gotcha. Well, if people want to follow up with you and connect with you, can you tell us the best places they can go so that we can make sure that we keep this conversation going?
To connect with me?
Yes.
All right. Like I said, I'm very active on LinkedIn, Chijioke Ibeku. On my personal feed on Facebook, Chijioke Ibeku Nana. On my page, Mediator in Action at Niger Mediator. I'll take it again. On my page on Facebook, Mediator in Action at Niger Mediator. On X, Mediator in Action. I'm very active on this. Instagram, Chijioke Nana. All these platforms. And I'd also like to say my WhatsApp number, if that is permitted by you, +234 802 361 8078. I'll take it again. Sure. +234 802 361 8078. Again, +234 361 8078. Then the second one is +234 5 again. +234 809 86 55 435. Thank you, Mark. These are all my contacts. And of course, before I forget, my email, chijioke2@.
I'll put all the information on the blog post so that you can share it and others can share it and amplify it, and they'll be able to see all the contact details. Okay, Chijioke?
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, check this video out and all the other ones on lmipodcast.com. And this video will be on YouTube as well as our other social media. Okay, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.